Hello and welcome to Creative Sparkle. My name's Holly and today we're doing an art journal prompt list, so grab your art supplies and let's get crafting. Hello and thank you for joining me today. So working in a recycled book today, so I will need to prime my page and I'm going to be using white gesso. So the first prompt is to prime your page as needed, and if you're not working in a recycled book like me, don't feel as though you need to prime your page because it's not necessary if you don't feel it's necessary. So I'm using white gesso and I'm going to put 2 layers on there, and I've put that masking tape down the middle so nothing comes through. So once I've primed the page with the white gesso, I will pop a second layer on just so that we can't see those words behind. So now that the page is primed, we'll move on to the second prompt. So we're using paper to cover the background. So you can use scrapbook, tissue paper, napkins, etc. So whatever you would like to use. I have these napkins in my stash and I'm going to be using Mod Podge to get that stuck down. So I'm just popping a layer of Mod Podge over the bottom base, and then I'll stick the napkin over the top, and then once I've smoothed it out, I'm going to pop some Mod Podge over the top as well. If you decide to use a napkin, then I do advise, like I have done here, to take away the extra tissue pieces. And if you want to use tissue paper or scrapbook paper, don't feel as though you need to stick the whole thing down like I have for the full image. You can tear them up if you want to and stick them down as a collage or whatever you would like to do for your page. So after I've put the layer of Mod Podge over the top just to make sure that's stuck down properly, we'll move on to the next prompt, which is prompt number 3. So use Stippling Effect to add a different colour to the layout. I have this green and white that I'm going to mix together, and I've got quite a large brush that's bristles are quite strong, so I'm just stippling that over the background. It is quite opaque, so I'm just using some kitchen roll over the top of it just to dab the opaqueness away, just so that it's more transparent so you can see through to the background. So each stippling effect is still there, as you can see the stippling, but the kitchen roll or tissue, whatever you want to use, if you want to use it. So don't feel like you have to follow what I'm doing. You could just do it on some segments or the full page like me. So prompt number 4 is to add grain or powder to the page for interest. I was going to use sand and I thought about using herbs, but in the end I decided to go for an embossing powder in the mustard colour. So I'm using an ink pad, which is a glue ink pad, and I'm just going over those with the embossing powder as a grain, and obviously I'm going to heat set that as well. But if you don't have embossing powder, then you can use, like I said, sand, or you could use glitter if you wanted to. There are many other things that you can use. You can use some herbs or spices. I did think of using cinnamon as well. So yeah, there was a few options in my stash that I was deciding on, but in the end this is what I decided to go for, just because the colour was better for what I wanted. So you just choose what you think is better for your page, and I'm sure it will turn out great. So once that stamped image is all heat set, I'm going to move on to prompt number 5, which is to choose or add a focal image of or containing a person. So I have these Tim Holtz cutouts that I got given for Christmas and I have chosen this girl that's dancing and I thought she was quite cute, so I'm just sticking her down with some PVA glue or school glue, if that's what you call it. And it's as simple as that, really. You use whatever you have available to you. So prompt number 6 is to add pattern paper or material to your focal image. So I went through my stash and found this lacy thing and decided to stick that down onto her, and I'm going to ripple it up a bit. So I'm going to put some on a skirt and some on her head as well. and I'm going to use my glue gun to get that stuck down, because using liquid glue with material is quite difficult when you want it to be crinkled up like I'm going to do. So you'll see I just put some of the glue gun down and then wrinkle it up and make it look like she's wearing some kind of skirt and crown made from material. So I'm quite happy with the result of that. So you could use feathers or leaves or tissue paper or anything that you have available to you. Just have a look through your stash. Don't feel like you need to get something particular for it. Just have a look through, see what you can add. You don't need to do dresses like I have either. So prompt number 7 is to add flat pieces of ephemera to your layout. So I've gone through my stash and found these skeleton leaves. I have used them before and I just thought it went quite well with the background, and I thought she looked like a bit of a dancing fairy in the forest. So I will stick these down with some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to put a layer through the centre of the leaves and then do it over the top as well. So I haven't gone all the way to the edge just to stick them down, but you can add whatever ephemera you have available to you. You could cut out pieces of wrapping paper if they've got little images on, or you know, whatever you have available. You could even use normal leaves if it's something similar to mine. You could go out and find some leaves. They're flat, so it counts. So as long as you're happy. So prompt number 8 is to add words to your page as a title if you wish. So I again have gone with some Tim Holtz Idea-ology set of stickers, and I'm just going to stick 3 of those down. The title, I guess you would call it a title. It doesn't really make too much sense, but it fits together, so I'm quite happy with the result. So once I've got that stuck down, I'm going to put some Mod Podge over the top just to make sure they stay where they are. If you wanted to find something from magazines, for example, cut words out from magazines, or you can write them onto the page. You could find some different stickers or stamps, whatever you have. So prompt number 9 is to add a border to your page to match. So I've decided to go with that same material that I used for the focal image, and I'm just using the glue gun again because it seems to be a curved type of material. So I'm sticking that down on the bottom edge and the top edge. So obviously you don't have to use the same material, it just has to match your page. So you could use some of the ephemera that you've used, or you can match it with some colour. It doesn't have to be a material at all. It could be paint or ink that just matches your page. Just as long as it's cohesive, it will be great, I'm sure. So once I've got that stuck down with the glue, I just trim the edges, and that's the end of the border for me. So obviously if you added material, you could add colour to it if you wanted to. Just whatever you think suits your page the best. So moving on to the 10th and final prompt is to add splashes to complete the page. So I've chosen this flesh colour, and I think it suits the page quite well because the embossing powder that I used earlier and the title are quite similar to the colour I've chosen, and so I'm just going to put splashes over the page. I did manage to get some on the title, which I will remove just with my finger, just brush it away, and on her face as well, but I will brush it away. So as usual, the full prompt list is at the end of the video, so if you do decide to take part in the prompt list, please do tag me on Instagram with the hashtag #SparklePrompts. I would love to see your creation. And if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I will see you next time, where we will turn your creative spark into creative sparkle. Thanks. Bye.